The Russian Ministry of Defense has announced the commencement of the second stage of joint exercises involving non-strategic nuclear forces with Belarus. This phase of the exercise focuses on the collaborative preparation of Russian and Belarusian military units for the potential combat use of non-strategic nuclear weapons. The exercise is designed to ensure the readiness of both personnel and equipment, thereby guaranteeing the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Union state. They said, during the exercise, issues of joint training of units of the armed forces of the Russian Federation and the Republic of Belarus for the combat use of non-strategic nuclear weapons will be worked out. The first phase of the drills was conducted in southern Russia last month. Nuclear analysts interpret this as a signal from Putin to deter the West from deeper involvement in the Ukraine conflict. Belarusian Defense Minister Lieutenant General Viktor Krenin stated that these exercises are a proactive measure to enhance readiness for the use of retaliatory weapons. He emphasized, now more than ever before, we are determined to respond to any threats posed to both our country and the Union state between Russia and Belarus. Krenin did not disclose the location of the exercises or the types of weapons involved. Belarus shares borders with NATO members Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia. He added, "We have no goal of creating any tension in regional security issues. We do not project relevant military threats on third countries or anyone else. We are a peaceful state. We do not threaten or seek confrontation with anyone, but we will keep our powder dry." Some Western analysts suggest that tactical nuclear weapons have gained prominence in Moscow's strategy since the Ukraine conflict began, given the struggles of its conventional forces over the first 2 years. The use of a tactical nuclear weapon could deliver a significant shock to the West without necessarily provoking a full-scale nuclear war, though the risk of escalating the conflict would be substantial. Since the start of the war, Putin has repeatedly highlighted the strength of Russia's nuclear arsenal, and Belarus has echoed that sentiment.
Russia has been regularly conducting exercises of strategic nuclear forces and non-strategic nuclear deterrent forces. The only difference is that after deploying part of the non-strategic nuclear potential on the territory of Belarus, we are doing this together with our Belarusian allies. This is the first. Secondly, we treat the security of Belarus in exactly the same way as we treat the security of the Russian Federation, and this is probably the key element of our cooperation in this area. As for compliance with Russia's obligations in this area, we fully comply with all our obligations in the field of nuclear weapons.
We have no desire to attack anyone. To defend ourselves, how to defend ourselves? We must be able to use these weapons. This is a deadly, dangerous weapon. It cannot be compared with a machine gun. You need to train. I honestly admit that this is our third training since the deployment of nuclear weapons on the territory of Belarus.
The initial phase of the drills last month occurred in the Akhtubinsk region of southern Russia, confirmed through geolocation by Reuters, and involved Iskander and Kinzhal missiles. Russia's foreign ministry expressed hope that these exercises would cool the hotheads in Western capitals and will help them realize the possible catastrophic consequences of the strategic risks they generate, and will keep them from both assisting the Kyiv regime in its terrorist actions and from being drawn into direct armed confrontation with Russia. This statement came shortly after French President Emmanuel Macron suggested the possibility of sending European troops to Ukraine, and British Foreign Secretary David Cameron asserted that Kyiv had the right to use Western-supplied weapons to strike inside Russia. The increasing calls in the West for Ukraine to use Western weapons to strike Russia were met with an aggressive response from Russian President Vladimir Putin. President Vladimir Putin said Friday that he sees no current threat to Russia's sovereignty that would warrant the use of nuclear weapons, but again, warned Moscow could send weapons to states or others to strike Western targets.
Now regarding the fact that we supply weapons, we are not supplying, yet but we reserve the right to do this to those states, or even other legal entities that face certain pressure, including military pressure, from those countries that send weapons to Ukraine and urge it to use it against us, against the Russian territory. If they supply weapons to the combat zone and call for using these weapons against our territory, why don't we have the right to do the same, to respond in kind? But I'm not ready to say that we will be doing it tomorrow either.
Speaking at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, Putin said use of nuclear weapons is only possible in exceptional cases, and that he does not believe such a case has arisen.
The use of nuclear weapons is possible in precisely in exceptional cases, in the event of a threat to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the country. I do not believe that such a case has arisen, and there is no such need. But this is a doctrine. This is a living instrument, and we carefully watch what is happening in the world around us, and we do not rule out making some changes to this doctrine.
He also gloated of the fact that Russia's arsenal of battlefield nuclear weapons is several times bigger than what the US and its allies have, and that if it comes to the use of nuclear weapons in Europe, the US may not engage its arsenal of nuclear-tipped strategic weapons to defend its allies.
But if, God forbid, it comes to some kind of strike, then everyone should understand that Russia has an early warning system for a missile attack, and the United States has more in the world. There is no such developed system anywhere. Do we have a developed system in Europe? No, in this sense they are more or less defenseless. The second is the power of the blows. Our tactical nuclear weapons are 3 times more powerful, 4 times more powerful than ours. The bombs used by the Americans against Hiroshima and Nagasaki quadrupled. We have many times more of them.
The delicate dance between Russia and Belarus in the realm of nuclear affairs unfolds against the backdrop of a shifting European landscape. Recent elections across the EU have witnessed a notable rise in right-wing sentiment, resulting in the ascent of leaders with more favorable inclinations towards Russia. This trend, coupled with a growing dissent within prominent NATO allies against adopting a confrontational stance towards Russia,